Right. Again, now let's take a look back at our reflectivity. We can see all these different areas of strong reflectivity. We're really keeping an eye on this one that looks like it's headed right towards campus. It's currently not warned, but we're going to continue to track that as we go over the next few minutes or so, because it looks like it's intensifying just a little bit. We can see these possible hail cores. We haven't had any updates in a few minutes, if that's correct, if I'm not mistaken, but there is definitely some hail, especially with these southern ends of storms. They're just going to keep producing hail. So if you're in that area, be sure to be mindful of that. And before it impacts you, be sure to put your car away and take precautions. Yeah, of course. I'm going to shift right over here so we can see these time slots. Sorry, we're going to be tracking Dibble. You're currently being impacted by these storms, and over the next 20 minutes or so, that's when we're going to see an impact. River wind, and that also the National Weather Center just around 10:30. So right now is the best time to take precautions because it is coming for us at the moment. Luckily, there's no warning coming for us at this moment, but there is that warning to our north and to our south, and that's going to push out Norman High School just around 10:45. Again, maybe let's take a look at some of our storm relative velocity down to our south. These hail cores look pretty intense. Okay, there's some maybe rotation down to that very southern part down there, but nothing crazy going on. Those northern storms, not any rotation apparent at this moment, but we can see there's that little bit just to our southwest here, but nothing that's going to be impacting us for the most part. That storm track is currently just going south of Norman. If we want to take a look back at reflectivity. Thank you. Okay, we can see some intensification with this storm here. I wouldn't be surprised if this does get a thunderstorm warning within the next few minutes or so, and it looks like there may be even some splitting again with that southern storm. This may be a left mover, and then down here may move a little bit to the northeast or to the right. If we want to zoom in on that, okay, we can see it starting to split just a little bit, and there is that rotation. You can see it in the reflectivity, but it doesn't look too, let's take a look. Okay, so it does look like to be splitting off just a little bit. It could be just trying to recoupling itself together, but it wouldn't surprise me if those storms do split because that's actually what we've been seeing over the past hour. So these storms are continuing to intensify and then splitting from one another and then re-intensifying again. If you want to play that track one more time. Thank you. Yes, and it's tracking to our northeast again, and they're splitting a little bit even further in just in that few minutes that we've been taking a look. Okay, if we want to zoom back out just a little bit. Okay, this storm is already looking like it's going to our northwest at the moment, so it's going to be impacting more and possibly the southern metro at the moment. Again, this storm right here looks like it's going to be coming straight for us on campus, not currently warned, but we can see this track. It's going to push through the metro and most likely into Edmond over the next half hour or so. So I know a lot of students on campus are from that area, so be sure to take those precautions. If you're out driving, try to get home as soon as possible or to a safe place because you do not want to be driving out in these large hail cores, heavy bands of rain, and strong wind gusts. And they're going to push to our northeast. And again, that storm's coming right for us for Norman, but this southerly one that's also producing those 1.5 or 1.75 inches golf ball sized hail is going to just to our southeast. So just keeping a track of those. Do we have anything over at the desk?
Not as of right now. Pretty much the same thing we've been watching the whole time. They did continue that severe thunderstorm warning for Garvin, Grady, and Stevens. That'll be the storms further down toward our south. I'm certain they're watching pretty much the same things as we are watching as well. We'll be sure to provide you with any updates as soon as we get those, but as of right now, pretty much sitting on the same information we've had for the last 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you. We're going to take it back to reflectivity, and I'm going to give you those times of when to expect it impacting the metro. So Will Rogers Airport, 10:23. So that's coming up pretty quickly within the next 10 minutes or so. I know now it's around 10:11 p.m. OCCC and Oklahoma City itself, that's going to be impacting you around that 10:30 mark. So we're seeing these storms are going to be impacting different areas around the same time. Like I said earlier, that storm that's just headed towards Norman, that's going to impact us here around 10:30. But at the same time, we're going to have to monitor that left storm that's going to our north. That's also going to be impacting Oklahoma City at the same time. If we want to take back a look down that southerly storm, I know we're still keeping an eye on that storm heading towards Norman, but I really want to take a look at this right here and see how it's moving and how it's splitting. So we can see that storm is still splitting, rotating. I want to take a look at velocity on there real quick. Okay, not much going on with velocity. We see this region right here, but nothing sticking out to me too crazy at the moment because we can see this red is wrapped around that green, not really that differentiating between sides on that velocity. So going to switch back to reflectivity at the moment, but something to definitely keep an eye on as we're heading into, because like Joel mentioned, there is still that chance for that rotation to continue, and there is the chance for those dew points and such to aid in that tornadic activity. But currently that's not our threat for those northerly storms, but we will keep an eye on that southerly storm if we want to pop back up, to that northerly storm that's impacting the Oklahoma City metro and Norman. Again, we haven't had any hail threats within the last few minutes or so, so no hail reports at the moment, but definitely the reflectivity has weakened just a little bit. It's not that strong, vibrant pink in those northerly systems, but there is still a chance for some of those smaller regions to have some small hail. I'm going to throw it over to Joel at the desk. He has an update for us.
Okay, National Weather Service is saying that there's large hail in Tuttle. The largest hail threat is actually approaching Mustang as well. So if we can take a look at our radar, you can see the area of concern. Once again, Tuttle. You can see that that hail core, that kind of purpley color.
Please zoom into Norman, thank you.
Yeah, let's go right into Tuttle. That's where, if we look at Tuttle, that's where the largest hail threat is going to be. You can see that purple color in there, but we have large hail falling in Tuttle, and it's approaching the Mustang area as well.
Thank you, Joel. And yes, I was just talking about how it weakened, and you can already see how rapidly it's already increased. We're looking at our hail tracks, and again, that's just kind of bouncing off what Joel had said. You can see that track of hail impacting Tuttle now as that storm system is making its way. And we can see there was some hail left behind that system that's headed towards Norman, but there's also those potential hail tracks along with that southern storm. So definitely keeping an eye on that. Back to Joel. He has another update.
I have another update about the hail going into the metro. The hail threat continues to increase, and now we're up to 2.5-inch hail. So very large hail expected for the metro now.
Okay, thank you, Joel, for letting us know. That hail can be very, very destructive. So please get your cars and get yourselves in safety, because even if you are outside, maybe running in the house or something, and hail is coming down, it could just do some serious damage, not only to your car, your windows, and even to yourself. So be sure to be mindful of that and take that into account. Excuse me, thank you. All right, let's zoom back in on that Norman cell just to check it over here. I want to see if there's any increase in reflectivity. Okay, so we're not seeing those heavier bands of reflectivity, still in those darker shades of red, though. I wouldn't be surprised if this system does end up intensifying a little bit more and hail being associated with that. So just because there's no hail risk at the moment does not mean there won't be one. So while we have the time, can we see how much longer? I think it's about 15 minutes until it should impact our area. This is the perfect time. This is actually the last minute time you should be running out and taking those precautions if needed. So again, let's see if these times updated just a little bit. National Weather Center, okay, it stayed the same. The storm's moving at about the same speed. How fast did we say it was moving? Did it change from 35? Or is it still 35? Okay, thank you, Sam. And yeah, impacting the National Weather Center, which is located on our campus around 10:30. So just keeping an update on that. Take those precautions because, again, it could get warned at any time. So we really want to take precautions for that in case it does and produces that larger hail that we're seeing with that northerly cell. If we want to go back to that northerly cell, and then in a minute we'll take a look at the velocity again for that southerly one. We can see reflectivity has increased just a little bit with that storm, so definitely associated with those larger hail cores that are currently impacting Tuttle. They're going to move into the Mustang area and impact portions of Oklahoma City and definitely drive up into Edmond. Want to go down to that southerly storm that we were talking about just to see if, oh, Taylor has an update at the desk. Please switch it to her. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, Alexa. So just so you know, that tennis ball sized hail, about 2.5 inches, was reported by emergency management. So sometimes we do have to take other reports with a grain of salt. In this case, emergency management, we do take, as a stronger representation of this is what is actually occurring. All reports are welcome, yes. But so yeah, it is emergency management that is reporting tennis ball sized hail. So it is observed hail sizes that are this large, not just radar indicated. So what we see on radar might not be actually what is equivalent to what is happening. So just to keep that in mind, we are seeing larger hail actually fall than what is indicated from radar.
And if you actually look at radar right now, just to the south of Wayne, I have not seen this in a long time, but the radar is now black on reflectivity, meaning the particles it's hitting is so large that it doesn't even look like it's like rain anymore. So if we hop back over to Alexa on the wall, you can take a look at that radar scan.
Yeah, if you want to zoom in on that here. I don't think there have been any reports at the moment, but there's definitely going to be some very large hail reports associated with that. We can see this entire, oh yeah, you can even see how dark. So essentially the colors, it's the possibility of hail, with pink and white being the lowest and black all the way to white again being the most extreme. We have not seen this all evening so far with that. So there is definitely some large hail going on in that area. If you are just west of Wayne, take cover right now and make sure your belongings and things like that are properly stored away, because you are most likely getting downed with hail. And I'm sure we'll have an update or an image that comes up in a few minutes that will depict that. If we want to zoom back out a little bit, but definitely keep a monitor on that. So we can see this reflectivity band is one of the largest that we're seeing on these systems. So definitely this whole region is most likely seeing those hail ranging from that pea size all the way up to probably exceeding 2 inches at this point with that storm. And again, that southerly side, I want to take a look just back at that again. Thank you for going through that. Okay, want to just zoom in on the southerly storm when we get a sec. But I want to track to see how that storm has been splitting. If we want to go just to our south just a little bit more, it looks like now that storm is kind of merging a little bit more back together. It was splitting off before, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. It split pretty far apart, and now it's kind of trying to regroup itself and get back together and push off to the northeast as well. And if we want to zoom back out again, check that Norman storm that's coming in. It's going to be impacting us in about 10 minutes or so. Zoom in on that storm. Okay, it looks like it's weakened a lot. We can see that reflectivity has gone down quite a bit. We were seeing those darker reds before, and now we're seeing those more yellow orangey colors. So it looks like the storm may be weakening just a little bit, but still don't throw that out. And again, taking a look at our storm track, sorry if you want to throw it back on there, I can move over. Again, National Weather Center, 10:30 p.m. ETA for that storm, so hasn't really changed off by a minute than what we saw earlier. So still be mindful. Just know that a storm is coming your way. It's not warned, but anything could happen like we were talking about earlier. Want to zoom back out and then go to that northerly storm again where we were seeing those hail reports. Okay, we can definitely see our reflectivity has picked up quite a bit. Now we're seeing a larger band of that darker pink. And again, this track of hail is most likely, we can see it extending all the way up now, impacting the Mustang area. And that's only going to continue to go to our northeast. I'm going to throw it back over to Sam at the desk.
Thank you, Alexa. For that storm that just passed through Tuttle heading toward Mustang, that storm has a history of producing up to tennis ball sized hail. So it's definitely produced hail as it has moved through already. Something to keep in mind if you live on the western side of the Oklahoma City metro area. Definitely some large hail, continuing throughout the next little while. Alexa, if you want to actually go over to iNet, sorry, I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. The skies appear to be filled with fire right now, lightning kind of all over the place. We give it just a second. Plenty of lightning to go with these storms as well on top of everything else. So definitely not safe to be out at any point today. Alexa.
All right, can we zoom back into Norman actually? I want to take a look at that since it's going to be impacting us within the next 10 minutes or so. Okay, so we could see those larger bands of reflectivity are starting to shift up into our area. You can see it's like very down here, those larger pink areas, and that's kind of shifting a little bit to the north and impacting in that area of where we're going to be seeing our storm. So again, that reflectivity, it's not showing hail at the moment, but it wouldn't surprise me if there is hail with this storm because we've been seeing it in all of the other storms so far. And again, impact time. So now Goldsby is going to be impacted in just a few minutes, 3 minutes, around 10:24, 10:25, and then it's going to impact the National Weather Center around again that 2:30 range and continue to push out. Norman High School expected to be impacted after campus just about 5 minutes after and push off to Norman North High School just around 10:40. So that's going to be within the next 10 to 15 minutes where that storm's coming through. If you're outside on campus driving around, be sure to get home or get to a safe place because even though there's no active hail like we were talking about or active tornado threat, you definitely want to be cautious because heavy bands of rain can definitely lead to some flooding. Even though we talked about earlier that wasn't our main risk, but there's still a chance for flood to pool. I'm going to throw it back to Sam. He's at the desk.
Sorry about that. No updates as of right now, but definitely not safe to be out as of right now. Get into your house or into a sturdy shelter. You want to be on the lowest floor in the center of the building. Even if it's not a tornado, hail can cause a lot of damage. Honestly, sometimes even more than tornadoes can, and the amount of hail and the size of it, definitely do not mess with this tonight.
May I interject
Of
just
course.
a little bit? So this system is associated with a dry line and with a cold front. So dry line is where you have your moist and your dry air on two separate sides. Your cold front is your normal warm air on one side, cold air on the other. So as of right now, we're seeing that cold front start to sag into Oklahoma, and we are starting to see a line of storms form along with this. So this will be a threat later into tonight. So we do have this first round of storms moving through the metro right now, but we do need to start paying attention to that line of storms that is kind of forming off over to our north and to our west. Alexa.
Thank you, Taylor. And sorry, Sam, I thought you were calling me over there. But okay, I want to zoom back into that system because it looks like that Norman cell is merging back with that southerly line. So I really want to take a look at that. It looks like that storm is essentially eating that other smaller system, and it's becoming more of a signified line. And again, that reflectivity is increasing right a bit just south of us in Noble, and it's pushing to the northeast. So it looks like we might just get scraped and get some heavier bands of rain here on campus, but everywhere south of that, it looks like that hail core is getting extended pretty far. And just all the way up from Wayne, all the way up to near Noble, it looks really like that reflectivity is very strong, and there could be some strong hail associated with that. And again, that reflectivity is weakening a little bit as it's impacting, coming to impact Norman. So we can see that reflectivity is kind of going and feeding into that line of storms and weakening a little bit. We're seeing more of those orangey and yellow colors, so those little bit less stronger bands of rain, and that few regions of red. That's where we're going to see that heavier band of rain. Yeah, of course. All right, so we're just continuing to track this storm. It's going to be ETA in about 5 or 10 minutes or so on the Norman campus. We're going to continue. I want to see the time again. Sorry if you're going to pull that up, the storm tracks, because it's just pushing on Cleveland County right now. So I want to see if there's been any change in the times. Okay, so Lloyd Noble Center, 10:27. That's in about a few minutes from now. So this storm is almost already here. If we want to take a look at the Weather Center cam, really quick, we can see that storm is coming in. There's strong bits of lightning flashes completely illuminating the sky and being picked up on the Weather Center cam. So that's impacting, that storm is coming right now and pretty much going to be on top of us within the next minute or so.
Right, thank you, Alexa. So we're going to take a quick look. We are seeing those more intense colors down near Goldsby. We are going to start seeing some precipitation